Hello everyone, I'm Srikant Shankar and welcome to my presentation on Pattanam archaeological excavations in Kerala, which is in South India. Pattanam is a part of an ancient port city which has a rich history of nearly 3000 years. It was once the center for international spice trade. They had connections with Southeast Asia, West Asia, Arabia, Africa, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. This is a location map of Pattanam, and you can see how easy it was for the spice route because it's right on the coast of Arabian Sea. The site is located in the southwest coast of India in the state of Kerala. It is around 4 kilometers from the Arabian Sea, and nearest city is Kochi. The historical and cultural significance of the site it can be explained with the spice trade route, which was an ancient route used for spice trade. And from this map, you can see how the site was almost in the center of the spice trade, right from the east to the west. And almost all the major cities of ancient period, like Egypt and even parts of Persia and Rome, all were, they all were involved in the spice trade. And the reason for Kerala to become the spice capital of the world was because of black gold, and black gold is pepper, and it was called black gold in ancient times because it was weighed in gold. It was that valuable, and it was one of the major imports from India, and I mean exports from India, and other than the pepper. Kerala was also famous for cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, and even turmeric. So, if you check the history of India, the spice trade has a huge part in its history. One major reason for why the spice trade flourished in Kerala was because of its inland waterways. Almost all the parts of the Kerala was connected through lagoons and series of channels and rivers and even backwaters. To give an idea about the life of people in Kerala even now and how close they are with the waterways. I'm showing these images from the tourism website. So we are still using our waterways, and we even have like floating markets. You can see that from the image. And on the right side, you can see the geography of the place, how it is covered in water, and how the transportation is done with canoes and boats, and even like small bridges. The Pattanam excavations, it kind of rewrites history because um, the history we were taught in school, at least when I was studying in school, which was long before the Pattanam excavations. Uh, we never had a clear idea about our connections with the West. So we had like assumptions about like having connections with many countries in the West and even Far East, but it was never confirmed. So like the history we studied in school was this, which was basically the Portuguese Vasco da Gama came to India, India, I mean specifically in Kerala, in 15th century in search of black gold, of course, and he asked permission to the Samarin of Calicut for doing the spice trade, and of course he agreed. And then they invaded. They stayed there for a while. Then came the Dutch. They invaded. They stayed there for a while. And at last the British came and they also stayed there for a while, but a little longer, around like 200 years. So this was the history we studied and our connection to the Western world. But the Pattanam excavations have proved that we had strong connections with the Western world, even 1500 years before Vasco da Gama, which is a huge reveal. Um, Pattanam excavation, it kind of leads to Musras, or we are like hoping it leads to Musras. Musras is a city which is there in fables and stories, or even writings all over the world, and it is supposed to be one of the uh, urbanized cities of ancient world. But we still don't have enough evidences about Musres. So this is like an artist illustration of Musres, and you can see a small sentence from a Tamil literature on the side, how it describes Musres, how the Yavanas are the Westerners, come with their fine ships bearing gold and leave with pepper. So this describes how the trade was done in Musras. The Musras is really important for the Indian archaeologists or even Indian history, because if it is found out, it could be the as big as like finding the Indus Valley civilization. So about the excavation of Pattanam, it started in 2007, and it started quite accidentally. The local people, they were excavating the land for construction of a house, and they found shreds of pottery, and they informed the authorities, and later that developed into the excavation. So in 2000, it was in 2007, as I said, and the excavation is carried out by Kerala Council for Historical Research, or KCHR, under the supervision of Archaeological Survey of India, or ASI. Those who doesn't know about ASI, it is like the last word or the higher authority in India when it comes to uh, archaeology or heritage. So around 129,083 artifacts were found from the site, and around 4.5 million local, pottery shreds were also found. Apart from this, there were a lot of immovable heritage, which is basically built heritage. And the walls, roof tiles, wells, toilets, a lot of things were found. So the objectives of the excavation, and this is the objectives for the time period 2014-15. It has changed a lot, like the objectives, but one thing remains always remains the same, which is to find a connection between the legendary port of Musras and the Pattanam site. So the archaeological research, it is done in around 70 hectares of land. Around 66 trenches were made on the site, and you can see that in the image. Each trench were about the size of 5 meter by 4 meter, and it had a depth of 3.17 meter. Even though there were like 66 trenches, it only covers around 1% of the entire site. So this is the stratification diagram, and I included this because by this time we all know how to like look at it, kind of. So thanks to Ingrid for that, and this is the Harrison's matrix, and there's a small description if someone wants to like read that. From the data collected from the stratas, 5 layers which belongs to 5 time periods were identified, which were the Iron Age, which starts from the 1000 BCE, and then comes the later Iron Age, or the early historical transition period. Then comes the early historic period, then the medieval period, and at last the modern period, which is 1500 Common Era onwards. In the Iron Age, which is 1000 to 500 BCE, megalithic pottery and iron objects were found. In the Iron Age or early historic transition period, which is 500 BCE to 300 BCE, turquoise pottery fragments, glazed pottery, and russet coated pottery were found. In the early historic period, which is 300 BCE to 500 CE, this era had a lot of findings. They had turquoise glazed pottery, torpedo and avoid jars, which were like mostly Middle Eastern influence or the Arab influence. There were tons of amphorae found, and you can see the peculiar shape of the amphorae from the top image and how it used to get stacked in the ship from the image down. The medieval age, which is 500 to like 1500 CE, there were glass beads and blue glaze pottery. These glass beads are important because they are very similar to those glass beads which were found in Africa. So it kind of suggests strong ties with Africa. So the final layer, which is the modern layer, had the blue and white Chinese ceramics, which kind of suggests that the Chinese influence was very late. Greco-Roman glassware were found all over the place. There are like tons of artifacts from the site, like hundreds of thousands. So it's impossible to like list everything in this presentations, but these two deserve special mention, which is the Fortuna intaglio and the Leaping Lion intaglio. These are engraved carnelian pieces, which were around like 1.5 into 1.1 centimeter or 1.2 into 1 centimeter in size. These are considered to be one of the most precious artifacts from the site. Talking about the built elements, it had a lot of wall structures which were made with uh, oven baked bricks, which had like um, terracotta roof tiles for roof. These walls and like terracotta remains were found from the site. There is also an interesting thing, which is the terracotta ring well. Then there are many other built structures on the site, like remains of toilets and even uh, small citadels. So all these built elements point out to one thing, which is the presence of a well-designed or developed urban life, which existed centuries back. The influence of these artifacts can be seen in a lot of modern art. So these are the artworks of two famous artists from Kerala, and also the largest, in fact, very large uh, art festival of Asia, which is the Kochi Muses Biennale. It happens in Kochi, which is the neighboring city. It is named to like honor the historic site of Muziris. In 2014, Unearthing Pattanam, an exhibition was conducted in National Museum, New Delhi. The whole exhibition had a lot of positive reviews. So, and this kind of created interest in the site all over India. And in 2014 itself, UNESCO signed the Memorandum of Understanding or MOU with Kerala government to protect and promote the spice route heritage. Kerala is already famous for its tourism industry under the tagline God's Own Country. And Muster's Heritage Project, with the tagline "Time starts here," kind of became a part of the tourism sector. And Muster's Heritage Project is supposed to be the largest heritage conservation project in India, with around 25 museums in proposal. And it it is still under discussion, but as some of the sites has been open to the tourists. And this is a side map of the Moses Heritage project. The Pattanam excavation is just a small part of the site. It's a huge site which includes tons of other archaeological sites. So you can see from the image how this land is connected with a lot of waterways. So they offer hop on hop off boat services for the tourists to like visit all these sites. About the present condition of the site, the excavations has been going on, but on a very slow pace. Meanwhile, it has been made into a green archaeology project, and as part of conservation, the site has been a part of the site has been changed into a spice garden. uh, Also, the community participation is huge in the site. The local people, they are very supportive, and the image from the image you can see how the local people started using bikes to avoid any impact on the site or the surrounding areas. For the development of the excavation team, and 5 acres of land was purchased, and they are establishing infrastructure for the researchers. Also, there are a lot of proposals like museum proposals and everything as a part of the whole project. So that's the present condition, but the site has to it has miles to go miles to go forward because proper conservation methods and proper exhibition methods has to be made. Also, there is a plan to make the whole site into a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Discussions has been going on for a while. So that's it, guys, and thanks for listening. And I really hope I didn't bore you guys. And this is like my first voiceover presentation. So thanks for listening and have a good day.